Different economies, common problems. All countries in the world today face the same difficulties to a greater or lesser extent. How can we make sure that industrial development does not harm the environment? What can be done to prevent an abundance of goods from turning into a waste collapse? Where to get enough money to combat poverty? And the big question is, how do we solve global problems across the entire planet? The BRICS states have been searching for and finding answers since the creation of the five. Now it can be placed it under the press and actually melt it. A swift hand movement and a plastic bag is transformed into fabric for your future makeup bag. The thickness of the material and its coloring depends on what the designer wants to do. The main condition is that the source material must only be recycled. That is, plastic that has already been used. Temperature 140 degrees Celsius, baking paper or Teflon sheets. And in between is that very polluter that has been plaguing the planet's eco-activists. According to them, plastic bags decompose in the soil for about 100 years on average. About 400 years for plastic caps in water, both exist many times longer. Galina Larina first thought about it when she was looking for a topic on her thesis. And in the end, she found her lifestyle with a clear conscience. Someone gives up the coffee lid, that's already great. Someone gives up both the plastic bag and the lid, that's twice as great. Some go further and take a reusable bag, some recycle. It seems to me that such steps are right and good, and everyone has their own measure. This is my honest movement, my little step, that somehow helps to draw attention to the topic of plastic pollution and in general plastic waste on our earth. Raincoats, jackets, and waste bags instead of a bag with bags. The creator of her own plastic clothing brand does not just come up with new collections. She also teaches children's environmental courses and lectures on green design, in the hope that more people will become savvy in conscious consumption. Indian businessman Nandan Bhatt is convinced that beauty will save the world from plastic. A few years ago, he quit his job to become an eco-entrepreneur. The company's rucksacks, tablecloths, pillowcases, and laptop bags are re-owned throughout the country. They could have been lying as dead weight in a landfill. Nandan bought manually operated looms and put them in a villager's home. Tens of thousands of fashion accessories and decor items are created from the used plastic bags. Second life for the waste, benefits for the nature, and employment for the people. Today, we recycle between 400 and 500 kilograms of plastic per month. However, we plan to increase production volumes in the near future. In this way, we can give jobs to more people and also help the environment more. Both are extremely important to us. And let's not hide it, we really like our products ourselves. May there be more of it too. The fish of her dreams appeared on Cape Town promenade. South African eco-activist Katrien Grobler has publicly invited everyone to a cool place. The construction is created from recycled materials. As a symbol of tragedy of the inhabitants of the world's ocean drowning in a sea of plastic. According to Katrien Grobler, the amount of floating debris is already equivalent to the weight of 60,000 blue whales. And the goldfish is unlikely to help here. The eco-activist is sure that those who are hooked by the consumer society should start living differently. I'm really glad to introduce you to a wonderful fish we have named Faithful. It is trustworthy, loyal, and dedicated to high ideals. It is designed to collect plastic. With this action, we want to draw people's attention to ocean pollution. Please give up plastic and stop littering. You can come here to our fish and hand in your plastic for recycling. It will be really cool. It will be really cool. Cycle of plastic in nature. Plastic recycling in South Africa has long reached an industrial scale. Plastic recycling in South Africa has long reached an industrial scale. Particular care must be taken to ensure that not a single pellet escapes the workshop. Otherwise, there is no use. The powder risks ending up in the environment, where it can be eaten by animals, birds, and fishes. Yesterday's canister is today's plastic flakes and tomorrow's so-called compound. A material that is widely used, for example, in electrical engineering and radio electronics.
Such production is a large enough industry in South Africa to employ some 80,000 people. Currently, South Africa is one of the world leaders in the field of waste processing.
Plastic, paper, glass, metal, cardboard, canes. It helps to sort rubbish, to move mountains of it. Tons of rusted metal structures are waiting for their turn at a sorting yard in China's Jiangsu province. All you need to get rid of unnecessary items and help the environment at the same time is to leave a request in the mobile app.
Usually, scrap metal from residential areas consist of parts of old household appliances, pots, pans, knives. Industrial scrap metal is usually leftover raw material. We sort them by thickness. Thin ones are usually assembled into sets at once, while thick ones are first cut into slices or sheets.
In total, there are over 300,000 companies in China recycling sector. The business turned out to be not only noble but also lucrative.
Global iron ore prices have surged, doubling over the past year. This has resulted in large profits for the scrap metal recycling sector. Carbon neutrality targets are an even bigger reason. The whole production chain, from exploration, mining, smelting, and metal forming, is a very long process. Direct metal recycling helps to save by reducing production costs.
Responsible consumption and production is just one of the Sustainable Development Goals. There are just 17 of them in total: the eradication of poverty and hunger, the preservation of land and sea ecosystems, quality education, decent work, and economic growth. The common dream of a better future is being pursued in one way or another by many nations around the world, and the BRICS countries are no exception. Only by working together we can try to solve global problems, including climate change. According to the United Nations, energy is the dominant contributor, accounting for 60% of the planet's greenhouse gas emissions. Inexpensive and clean energy available to all. Russia's movement towards Sustainable Development Goal NR7 can be seen in the example of the Odintosovo electrical substation. It was built and launched in 1938. In 2014, they completed a large-scale modernization. As a result, the area that the equipment now occupies was reduced and the power has increased. The complex system, controlled and managed by one person with a tablet in their hands.
Timely modernization of the power sector is the foundation, the platform on the basis of which, as we can see from the development history of the supply center, the transformer capacity has increased rapidly. This allowed industry, transport, and the communal sector to develop. And therefore, people who live in the Odintsovo metropolitan area can certainly feel the heat, our energy that we transmit through the wires. They can also feel it in their homes, sealed and eco-friendly.
It operates in automotive mode and sounds an alarm at the slightest hint of malfunction. Switchware gear from China and Russian equipment together ensure a reliable power supply. Such energy cooperation at a single substation is the first in the country and certainly not the last. Domestic equipment made entirely in Russia. These large iron cabinets are microprocessor-based safety elements for 110 kilowatt lines. Against all type of short circuits, the electricity that the substation distributes to homes, businesses and social facilities is generated by a heat power plant. Russian thermal power plants today are also the innovation territory. Modern combined cycle power units help to save fuel, reduce to use of water resources, and significantly reduce emissions into the atmosphere. In the BRICS countries, alternative energy sources are also actively used. The famous panda-shaped solar power plant in Detong is a symbol of the region's energy transformation. It is home to one of the country's largest coal holdings. It specially created subsidiary manufactures solar panels.
Domestic equipment made entirely in Russia. These large iron cabinets are microprocessor-based safety elements for 110 kilovolt lines against all type of short circuits.
We should not avoid it, but seize the opportunity and rise to challenge. The challenge was accepted on its Brazilian farm too. Electricity is vital here. Special lamps keep the newborn piglets warm. Pumps pump water into the water troughs, and feeders automatically provide the feed, and all of this goes for 24 hours a day. 90% of the electricity consumed by the Monte Alegre farm is generated by processing pig waste. The manure ends up in a storage container with 2 tanks. Half is used for fertilizers and the rest is turned into fuel. Electricity is produced out of it by bioreactors like this one. The farm also grows sugarcane, soybeans and corn, which are used to make feed in their own mini factory. The result is a complete cycle with zero waste technology. The bioreactor is a key part of the farm. Without it, the work would simply stop. It provides the farm with electricity. It's environmentally friendly and allows waste recycling. Part of the electricity from the reactors goes to the home of employees who live right here. Waste-free production and use of organic raw materials. This is the path followed by Indian farmers too. Brothers Bilal and Munir Ahmed Sheikh from the village of Muran set up a small fertilizer factory. Support from the national government, help from scientists, and a scientific approach. The final environmentally friendly product, Miraculously Biohumus, is in great demand among local residents who brag to each other about their richest harvest.
We study soil in our own laboratory and produce biofertilizers and biofungicides. Special mention should be made of the composting facility. It's a godsend. As a result, we add our fertilizer to the biohumus, then treat it with our biofungicide. Our company exists for 8 years already. And as we see that those farmers who by the grace of God have bought our products have had spectacular results.
India's green approach is also demonstrated in the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal NR7. The country has been formulated a national solar mission. Such power plants should appear in all territories as soon as possible. Also, India is one of the world leaders in wind power. The ambitious plans are set for 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. In the silent competition among countries to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, everyone wins in the end. But their success depends on each and everyone.
We are undergoing a very strong enough transition or a revolution that is happening across the energy industry. We should not avoid it, but seize the opportunity and rise to the challenge. In this case, we also support the efforts of the civil society, activists, and we ourselves must follow these rules and principles. Leave no litter behind. Act rationally and conserve nature. The main responsibility here lies with the state, of course. But a lot depends on the individual, on their consciousness. Unless one breaks this paradigm within oneself, realizing that ensuring our planet's preservation, our planet's survival is up to me today, we will not achieve any goals.
Experts give an important role to university students and graduates. This includes how the youth associations countries of the 5 will communicate and interact with each other and will shape the 2030 agenda. Senior Komisarova, Pavel Polovinka, Armen Sargassian, Nikita Drimitov. TV BRICS with Janhit Times.